Hey guys, welcome to Flawed and Content. My name is Danielle, and I am here to talk about the mother wound. I am no expert, it's just experience that I have gained through my life dealing with my mother wound. Um, just a little synopsis: I'm not married, I'm 38, and I do not have any children. And I feel like I don't have any children because of the simple fact that I have a mother wound. A mother wound, to be honest, is not intended, like I feel like it's not intended to really shatter you. It's more likely to build you up, to strengthen you, to get you to understand that you need to love yourself a little bit harder than what your mother did or what your mother showed you or anything like that. It's for you to step on boundaries. It's for you to really create boundaries in your life that nobody can break. Nobody can break your boundaries. Once you're in love with yourself enough to create boundaries that really tell people that you aren't playing around with, the games that people do play when it comes to emotions and stuff like that, um, you know, people would move away from you, right? But I totally feel like our mothers didn't have boundaries. They didn't have a strong connection with their intuition. They didn't, have a strong connection with their spouse. They didn't have a strong connection with their family. They didn't have a strong connection with any or anyone. You know what I mean? They might have been feeling alone most of the time. I know for me personally, I know my mother felt alone. I know my mother had to be going through postpartum depression. I know my mother just had nobody, back to number one, she had nobody to talk to. She didn't have nobody to talk to. Just analyzing everything from my perspective. She had no one to talk to. And that's something that, really bothers me because I'm not pushing religion on anything, but I do read the Bible, and I feel like if we were to revert back to the Bible, women did not have children by themselves. They had the child, they had a maid that would help them, go through life with the child. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, Sarah had a maid. She had Hagar and Leah and Rachel. They had maids that was following them throughout the journey that Jacob had bring them onto and stuff like that. Women were not meant to be by themselves as they had children, and that's just what happened with a lot of our mothers who inflicted a mother wound on us. They were by themselves. They were by themselves. They didn't get a chance to get to know themselves. They got pregnant early. They didn't get a chance to know themselves. Who the hell was teaching them how to be mothers? Not their mothers. Because a lot of their mothers just left them high and dry. It was a repeated cycle. You know what I mean? And the repeated cycle stops with you. So therefore, getting to know yourself, and getting to understand yourself is a very important pivotal step of this journey, because one is only is going to bring you closer to yourself. It's going to keep you in line. It's going to keep, it's going to help you weed out people that don't belong in your life. Once you get strong with your intuition, once you get strong with your boundaries, it's going to help you weed out things that don't need to be in your life anymore. This is what I've come to understand with my mother wound, like understanding, like, well, if I, you know, I went through so many different emotions when it came to my mother wound. I went from, this lady not loving me correctly, and how dare she just leave me high and dry, to totally understanding that, oh, she was going through a lot. She was going through a lot of, emotions that probably just left her drained. Now that we understand what energy is all about and stuff like that, feminine energy, just, she was probably in a situation that left her high and drained. How do you function with no energy? This is something that made me realize, like, she probably couldn't go on no more. I come to the conclusion that she gave up, but she didn't give up. Her energy was out kaput. She wanted to start digging into herself now. You know what I mean? So a lot of us might have been abandoned. A lot of us might, feel rejected and stuff like that. But really put yourself in a situation now. If you're an adult, 30 plus, and you've been in relationships, it's not a game out there. A lot of people are getting bamboozled when they get into relationships. This could have been jealousy, right? Your mother's jealous of you. Why is she jealous of you? Because your father's paying you more attention than he's paying her. She just had a baby. feeling neglected. I don't know about you, but being with somebody and feeling neglected, that's highway robbery. If you ask me, you know what I mean? That's highway robbery. It's something that I couldn't personally deal with, and I've gone from my mother I gone from calling my mother a punk to calling my mother strong because of the things that she had to go through, the things that she endured while dealing with men. You know what I mean? I've come to the conclusion that a lot of our lives would be better if we didn't really include people, you know. But she got married, she didn't vet properly, right? And probably didn't know how to vet properly. And this is what we are supposed to learn moving forward when we go through our healing journey, is to learn how to vet properly, learn how to use our discernment, our intuition when it comes to dealing with men, right? I know my father had a gambling problem. What? That probably was taking money out of food and household things and rent and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that could be strenuous on a relationship too. Postpartum depression. Nobody knows about postpartum depression in the 80s as much as they know about it as now. You know what I mean? These women were probably going through a whole bunch of emotions and they had nobody to talk to. Like, that's just the most wackest thing that us women could be going through. You know what I mean? I bring up the that's why I bring up the Bible, because I'm like, you know, a lot of the women in the Bible had somebody to lean on after they had birth, after they gave birth. They had somebody to take care of the baby. They had somebody to, you know, to be there with them as they, you know, were nursing or whatever was going on at that time. There was always a maid. There was always a maid when these women had babies in the Bible. Sarah had Hagar, Rachel, and you know, there was I know what's that, Bilna or something like that in the Bible. There's plenty of women, and I'm going to get all the names. I'm going to list all the names of all the women that had aides and maids when they gave birth to their children, right? So a lot of our mothers who, you know, inflicted a mother wound, they were just in the streets by themselves. You know, by themselves. Even though they had people around them, they were in the streets by themselves because they didn't know how to communicate. They didn't know how to, you know, voice their opinion correctly. There's probably abuse going on in the relationship. There's a lot of shit going on. And our mothers probably went through a lot of stuff growing up. You know, one of the things that really hurt me before I started this, you know, getting on camera, because I wasn't this fluent getting on camera. It's just been a 2-year process, 3-year process of just working on, you know, being more fluent on the camera, being more articulate on the camera. I mustered up the strength to ask my parents, like, you know, what was it like back then? Like, what was it, you know, like back then? I got more information out of my father than I did my mother. And my dad, he just basically told me that he didn't really care about my mother. He didn't care about her at all. And he didn't like her. You know, he probably wasn't attracted to her or anything like that. I've heard regret not, you know, being with her and stuff like that. So, you know, those things hurt me personally. You know what I mean? Me and my mother may not have the most dynamic relationship, but deep down inside, that shit hurt me, because being the female that, you know, is not a 10 to most people. You know, I have my good days and I have my bad days, but mostly I'm not people's cup of tea and stuff like that for me and for them, and that's okay. You know, for her, my mom, it probably, you know, that shit really knocked her off her feet. You know what I mean? Well, if you don't want to be with me, then I'm gonna go find somebody else, you know? And that's the sad thing about it. Like, the house was broken up because you didn't vet properly. Financial problems, emotional problems. My father don't know how to talk, you know, his emotions. My mom don't know how to talk emotions. They don't really like each other. They don't fuck with each other. You know, it's just a whole bunch of back and forth, unnecessary back and forth, because people are not actually in love. You know, if you have a mother wound, there's a possibility that your parents weren't in love. Your parents weren't, you know, together like that. You know, they had a lot of problems back and forth and stuff. So I personally have gone through my healing journey. Like I said, I've gone through 2 extremes. I don't like the fact that she abandoned me, to the point that I understand Proverbs 19:11 is one of my favorite proverbs. I'm going to drop it here at the bottom. And if you have a mother wound, please comment down below, because I want to build this community where we talk more about our traumas and get past it, so that we can forgive our mothers and become the best versions of ourselves moving forward in 2025. Stay with me. Peace.